So now that you've made it through the setup, it's time to dive into the dashboard. And I'm going to show you exactly how you can analyze your Google Analytics in 20 minutes, right? Just very, very simple, short, slide presentations that's going to show you the valuable menus and the valuable tools that you have at your disposal. So it'll kind of help you from getting lost. I've had a lot of clients that they're like, oh, I really want to dive into the Google Analytics numbers and dive into them. But the reality of it is it's so robust. And depending on what report you're looking at, if you don't have consistency with what your views you're looking at, and then just the overall, experience and knowledge base of understanding what the metrics mean and how to correlate together, it can be something that can be extremely mind-blowing, right? I mean, the reporting capabilities are 100 times greater than what you're going to see within AdWords. But the main difference, and I'm going to reiterate this within the presentation, is the fact that this is for on-site data, right? It doesn't have to do with your Google, your social. Like, there's a lot of different components that we'll explain further on in the course that can, they don't give fair credence, I guess, within Google Analytics, right? Analytics is going to be based off of a click interaction, where some of the social aspects are based off of impression-based. Even some of the stuff within YouTube is based off of views or impressions, where you're not really getting the ability for analytics to track that through all the way unless they've previously engaged within your website, right? And they've gotten that cookie on there. So first of all, what you really need to do whenever you're diving into Google Analytics, right? We set up and we talked about the admin portion and where to find that. You really need to make sure that you're on the correct property, right? Navigate to the right property is the first step in getting started with Google Analytics. To verify this, click on All Accounts in the upper left-hand corner. Once you do that, the account screen gives you visibility of all levels. Accounts is the top level and might be used to separate properties or medium analytics and tracking. Right, your properties is your second level. This is where you're going to look at your different website versions and that sort of view. And then the views is more of the data, right? If you have basically a shopping view or all website view or just webinar page view, sub pages, like this is where you can segment down and, because it's going to give you a massive amount of data. And sometimes, depending on how big your website's going to get and how much data you're having in there, that can be kind of, a struggle to really sift through. So that's why those views are being able to segment that down and see the data at a hyper granular level is very, very important. Now you click on the property to select which one it is in here, and then that's what's going to be visible right here, right? That's how you select this. Now on the next page, this is the normal dashboard that you're going to land on, right? Now if you log in here, you're going to see some core metrics. These are based off of 7-day lookbacks, right? And you're looking at 7,800 users, sessions over 10,000. So that's how many unique users were there, or users on the site. They're not unique, sorry. And your sessions was how many times they were there. So these people were here multiple times. Your bounce rate is how many people actually just went to the website and directly bounced off or didn't look at multiple pages before they left, right? Close their browser. The session duration is average duration on the site. And that means they stayed on the page for an average of 2 minutes and 7 seconds. This field over here is going to be your active users. That's going to be how many people are actually live on the site right now. Really, the main tabs where you're going to really stay in and find the most valuable information are going to be your audience and your behaviors tabs. Now, just kind of take a step back and again, reiterate what Google Analytics is, right? Google Analytics is a free product your web developer or you can install that collects visitor data from your website. Okay, this doesn't collect data from your social network. It's not collecting that data from your AdWords account. This is real-time data from your website that it gains. So this data is used to create reports that provide insights into how visitors are using your website, right? This isn't how they're interacting with your ads. This isn't how your social is tying in with your Google Ads campaigns. This is all about what happens once they get to your website. Right? Where did they come from? And when they left, where did they go? And while they were on your website, what did they do? How many pages did they go through? What buttons did they click on? How deep in the page did they fall? That's the type of information you're going to get from Google Analytics. So don't read too much into the overall revenue metrics or, a lot of the metrics if they are, off a lot from what you're seeing within your Google Ads. There's several key components why that could happen. Analytics updates at a slower rate than the Google Ads does. The Google Ads site also is going to be able to see view-through conversions from ads and from YouTube videos and those kind of interactions where Google Analytics, unless they've been to your website and had the cookie applied from analytics, it's not going to have that same visibility. So you're going to have less conversions a lot of times, but the ultimate goal of Google Analytics is to give a clear picture of how people are interacting with your site while they're on it, right? So the audience overview and the audience tab, once you click on that, you're going to have several different things that you can view as far as your metrics, right? You're presented with several options after clicking the audience tab to the left. The default metrics are showing below. You have sessions, total sessions, new users, new and recurring visitors, right? You have your users, total users during the selected time period, and that's for your date range up here. Now you have your page views, total number of page views, pages and sessions, which is the average number of pages viewed per session. Your average session duration, just like on your home page, is how long they spent on the site. You have the same bounce rate metric, and the new sessions is how many percentage of your total sessions were from unique new users, right? Basically people that had either cleared the cache and cookie and didn't have any previous data or had never interacted with the site. Now you have also several options after clicking the audience tab and landing on audience overview, some new beta options, but the nit and grit reports are the demographics, your interest, your geo, your behavior, your tech and mobile, your custom benchmarking, and your user flows, right? Those are going to be the historic ones that are going to have the most data on, and they're what you've always used. The demographics are going to be the same as within the system, right? Their age and sex. Your interests are what they buy and where they go. Your geolocations is where the user is actually located at. Your behaviors, again, it's where they engage on the site. If they're a new, old user, how much was their engagement rate, percentage-wise. The tech is just going to give you how they found you, right? Was it on a mobile site, desktop computer, a tablet device? Your custom and benchmarking, those are more reportings to basically set out what your historic metrics are, right? So within this particular metrics over the last 6 months, 3 months, whatever, we've seen this kind of average across those. You also have some custom filters as well that you can put in there to start putting certain data together. And then the user flows, that's actually from basically the entrance where they went onto your website and what pages they followed through and how long they were on there. Now, the next one is the acquisition tab, and landing on the acquisition tab, the overview provides a few select options. Like you also notice the bar graph as well, right? But AdWords is one because Google loves promoting themselves, right? I mean, so they have to make that the top possible one. But the Search Console is also in there as well, where you can pull insight data from the Search Console as long as it's linked. You also have your social behavior as well from new and old user engagement on site data from your social acquisition channels, right? The tech and mobile is the same thing as it is within the behavior model. It just breaks it down according to the actual goal attainment, right? You have your campaigns, which is across all of your social, your PPC. It breaks down into, you can do source and medium and all that fun stuff. And then again, the user flows as well. Just understand the flow of the traffic as it comes through. Right? Your traffic sources is that's kind of the one that I pretty much utilize the majority of time whenever I'm trying to dissect where and when my customer, my audience is, where they're interacting with, right? The report I utilize the most, again, is this acquisition one. The source and medium one, it's going to tell you, as you see on screen, right? Google organic, Facebook referral, Bing organic, right? It gives the source, so like the network basically, and then the type of medium it was. Was it social, referral, PPC, organic traffic? It'll also give you different session details and behavior aspects such as sessions, new conversions, new users, bounce rates, page sessions, average session durations. You also have some conversion and goal transactions over there. And you can also filter these at the top up here as well to add additional ones or take them away. So the behavior tab is a really, really good one to just overview the summarization of the data, right? What are they doing on your site? This shows the customer path on site, filters report showing traffic to page. You also have a site speed report where you can diagnose basically and optimize certain components, whether or not you're talking about page load speed, things along those lines. If there have 404 errors are dissected in there as well. And you also have the site search as well, where you can kind of identify where they're going throughout the site, right? And then your events page as well is going to track back to your goals and certain aspects of, your scroll depth, how long they were on a certain page for a certain duration, It's just more the behaviors that they reflect on the site, right? How much did they use and where did they kind of go through, right? It's not so much as far as what traffic delivered there or, how long, the bounce rate, anything to that effect. Right. The other report that I use a lot of time is top pages, right? I'm going to utilize this one to understand what my top pages are on the site. Where am I getting the most views? Where are the unique views being impacted, right? Where the page is having the most time visited, right? Which pages have the highest bounce rate as well, and which pages have the highest exit rate. And that's all incredibly valuable stuff whenever you're talking about optimizing your content, but also your pages as well, right? If you're talking and you're looking at your site speed, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll compare the site speed report with the all pages report, because that will also determine, is it something where the page isn't loading fast enough? Is there certain content on it that isn't loading? Are they even scrolling down and viewing the entire page, right? Or is this particular page, right, like some version of my cart page just has a really, really high exit rate? Then is it my offer? Is it the page, right? You may change some stylistic nature of the page to determine that it's the offer. Or if you improve results by changing the stylistic nature of the page, then it was the page structure that was messing with it. The behavior and user flow, this shows literally from entrance point to where they actually just basically completed, right? So they loaded on the page. This was the URL, right? The starting page. This is their first interaction, was the next URL that they hit. Their second interaction was, the next URL hit. As we see, from this particular example, we have 47 more pages, 1,000 users exit on that. From the United States, right, we had 606,000 users of the 2,000, 40 basically of the hit, right? 9,000 total sessions, 6,000 of them dropped off, right? So 6.7 is what there. And then the other 2,000 or so rolled through, and this was their next interaction point, right? So as you see, the 2.8 plus 6.7 equals the 9.5 total sessions. But then we have 1.4 that dropped off, and this will continue out, multiple interactions. As you can see with the behavior flow here, it's got, out second interactions. Excuse me, let's go back to that. And they'll actually continue out. I think it goes to 5 different interactions that you can expand it out to see. Once you get past, about second or third, there's not too much more valuable information you can take from it. Now the goals, again, we've kind of already covered goals, and we're going to dive more deeper into that, so I won't visit too much on here. But in Google Analytics, you have 5 ways to track your goals, right? We can track revenue, we can track acquisitions, we can track inquiries, basically if they did product appointments, lead generation, stuff like that. You can also test engagement, right? If they're a certain view to a certain page depth, they went to multiple pages. And then you can also set up custom URL or custom goals in there and within Google Analytics to try and track. Now, the big deal so what is that big deal with the page overview? Well, Google Analytics tracks how each page performs individually on your website, right? So it's going to give you unique data for each page on your website, regardless of how significant or how insignificant it is, right? You're able to use this data to determine pages that are popular, pages that need to be revamped, where visitors are abandoning your website, and pages that are producing the most conversions, which is the most important one, right? So we utilize that to kind of expand the performance from that campaign or that page onto the other ones. Now, most important aspects of Google Analytics to analyze, your audience overviews, right? Quick overview of your total statistics of people that are interacting with your sites. Also your goals, conversions, and event tracking, right? It's very important to understand not only the ultimate goal of selling products or getting leads or services, but understanding the pathways that they get there and the many conversion points and drop-offs that they're doing as well by utilizing the goals. Now, you also want to understand where the traffic sources are coming from. Where a visitor came from before visiting your website is extremely important, because that's where we're also going to look to maybe put additional money in after the fact. You also really want to understand the devices, right? What devices a visitor uses to visit your website. This will also really help you whenever it comes back to creating your ads within Google Ads and any other ad network, to understand about creating the proper content and assets in the right mediums that'll perform best on those particular devices, so you can increase the conversion rate and the experience that they have. as well as understanding your top pages, right? The most popular pages on your website will really give you value and understanding of what your target demographic is really valuing, right? Is it a particular content that they're liking? Are they staying where you have videos? Are they reading more of your long form content? Are they going directly to your product sales page, right? These type of informations will help you in understanding the flow of your customer, but also helping to remove touch points that are cumbersome or ineffective whenever you're sending them through your traditional website flow. Now, the most important aspects of Google Analytics, again, to analyze are your goals overview. Now, the final thoughts on all of that is that you really need to make sure that tracking can accomplish through almost every touch point in your community interactions, right? So this next tool we've talked about a couple different times, and it's all about actually, delivering very hyper-focused data back to Google Analytics, right? And with Google Analytics and this next tool, the URL builder, all right, you're able to put very focused information in here, right? Like Google banner ads, what campaigns, what mediums they found in here. And the URL builder is contained in the discovery portion under campaign builder. I've also given you it in the resource tool bag. So, don't ever think that it's too much work to create these extra URLs and go hyper granular, because the better that you can identify your campaigns as you scale, as you get more clients, or as your company just gets bigger, right? It's going to be much more imperative for you to be able to track back when and how these people are interacting with your ads, so you can make sure you're reporting back to it, you're optimizing to it, you're increasing that ROI, increasing the experience, lowering costs, and always putting more money back in your pocket, right? To make sure that we can scale and we can continue our efforts and we can grow and succeed further. So Google Analytics is an incredible piece of tools and systems and just reports that you can use to help understand the interaction with your website. And it's definitely something, to pull the data from in order to make your ad initiatives, and where you're actually paying money to deliver these ad assets and be in front of these audiences, making sure you're giving them what they want, making sure that your message is hyper focused and that the content is following that stream of relevance, right? So whatever they're looking for, whether it be them looking on a page, whether them watching a video about something, or whether them typing in a keyword, that relation is directly related to the ad that they're being served. And then once they click on that ad, the messaging that they're seeing within that ad is very reflective of what the landing page that they're going to land on, right? If you maintain that tree of relevance, you'll always promote a positive experience for your consumers, and they're only going to build just loyalty and value in your overall products, and your overall marketing dollars will be spent in a very efficient way, rather than oversaturating the market and becoming a nuisance, and where it's actually, it's detrimental, right? So utilize Google Analytics and these tools that we've talked about within this slide deck, and what we're going to expand on within the SMART goals, and using some of the attribution models to really understand what's valuable to your clients and where to hit them with the proper messaging to reinforce that experience rather than be a detriment to it. So let's get on to the video, and we're going to dive deeper into putting in these goals and really tracking back to very granular micro commitments, and ensuring that every single ad we're delivering to our clients is highly relevant, highly contextually targeted, so we can make sure we're improving that experience throughout the entire flow.